Welcome to my channel. This is a reading for Sagittarius. This is for the month of October 2020. Just want to give a quick thank you out to all of my existing subscribers, and for those that are new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. I'll just try to give you a quick synopsis of how I do the readings and go through the cards as the reading progresses. So first off, I'll give you a synopsis. Everything that is basically central to the reading is really related to career and finance. I do have a lot of external cards on the outside and off to the periphery here that are related to general energies. So in short, sorry, I should also mention I don't really get into a lot of very deep emotional love readings or relationship readings, anything on that basis. I may touch on it because I do feel that certainly we have a lot of relationships that overlap with our finances, and certainly there are some indicators with this reading that is also relevant to your reading. So I just want to quickly mention, as I say, I mean, it's just going to touch on relationships, but it's not necessarily going to give you a lot of detail or advice or direction in that area. So primarily general energies, and again, central focus is for career and finance. Okay, at a glance, what I did feel here was that there was a lot of issues around a relationship. Again, there were, whether this is a relationship that's long-standing, that is, a married couple, or a cohabitating couple, or a couple that's been, quite long-standing commitment type of energy is what I'm getting here for the majority. For sure, there's going to be a few different stories. These are general readings and definitely can't apply to everybody out there. And certainly as well, everybody's energy is a little more fluid. It's a little difficult to apply the same range of issues and depth of issues for somebody that is 19 versus somebody who has had a longer term commitment that, might be 70. So again, take it as it resonates, but this is just generally what I'm picking up. So I feel that the issues around money are still a little bit tight. I do feel that you're winning out in some competitions. I don't up against other people. For those that are in existing positions, there might be some kind of award or recognition or promotion or some sort. I didn't feel there was anything necessarily new on the horizon as far as a new job opportunity, at least not for the month of October, but there is some kind of a decision that does need to be made toward the end of October, and I suspect that could be about a job change or feeling as though you need to move on in a career situation. I do feel that there are some victories. When I say victories, I mean victories can come in large or small sort of ranges. So it could be a victory on the front of you've won an argument, or a victory on the front of, you've come into a court battle and come out of that in a favorable way. But overall, I did feel that there is a lot of conflict that is revolving around some kind of long-term commitment emotionally. Your money situation is fairly consistent. You are hanging on to money. There is some, inspiration here. But again, I feel for a lot of you, there is something around wanting some kind of a career change situation here. I'm not really sure if it is a creative project necessarily for you, or if it is just that you're using creative solutions to arrive at some of these decisions, because as I say, there's an end of a lot of ending death cycle cards toward the end of October. So it feels like either, this is really in relation to relationship. Maybe the relationship has been reformed and there's a new sense of commitment on a deeper level to one another, and things are starting to resolve. Which there was some indicator for some of you that is the case. I didn't see necessarily a walking away energy. There's nothing in the way of departure or leaving home, anything along that line. It was just more along the lines of a hard win, or some kind of an understanding that there's been some kind of a resolve with regards to a partnership. And again, that could stand for partnership in business, or it could stand for a partnership, between friends, close friends. And again, for others of you, and I would say more significantly for a good percentage of you, this would be related to a long-term commitment relationship. I feel there's a lot of vacillation, a lot of indecision, but definitely there is some creative solutions. There's some kind of transformation within yourself that is having you come to a resolve toward the end of the month. There might be some heavy negative thinking or drinking or something that's just that you're getting control over, but I do feel that there's a lot of or this in general, this because there's a devil energy that comes through here also toward the end, but there is a victory over that as well. So I mean, it's just regaining control over some aspect of excess. But definitely, I mean, there's still progression with the money. I don't feel that's a real factor there. I just feel like you're harboring some, fears, and so you're hanging on to the money. You're maybe a little more stagnant in that area, meaning that nothing's really completely moving forward on that level. There may be collaborations, but I feel you're getting a lot of input from friends or people that are discussing options with you toward the end of October. But again, a lot of cards of a decision that needs to be made. And certainly because there's a lot of tens, there's a lot of twos here. A lot of there's sixes as well in terms of finding balance. You also have the World card and so on here at the end as well, and that's also speaks to a beginning and end of a cycle. So there's been some kind of a resolve of some sort, and you're moving on to a better place, in your head. I feel that you needed to stand up for yourself here at some point as well. But again, I feel on some front with the Chariot card and the, as well as the Five of Wands, that conflict is really more to do around your career and something related to work, where you're considering moving on in another position, or again, for others of you, it would be actually overcoming the odds and being recognized for your efforts, and perhaps even, as I said, for some of you, it would be leveling up and moving into some kind of a promotional position. The reason why I say that is because we're talking about the Star and the Key, and that's all about the same thing with new beginnings. Hard times are over. So there is definitely some kind of a progression here. You also have abundance cards that are coming through here. So there is some money that is, if not coming through for the month of October, it's money that you know about and you're waiting on. So there's some sense of comfort. I don't feel that there's a lot of fear around money. I just feel that it's your sort of your natural inclination right now just to hang on to what you've got, because there was an indication that there's going to be slow money that's coming through. So something is coming through that, I mean, it might be related to a creative project as well, but for the most part, I feel this is more related to something along the lines of, again, creative solutions. But I feel that this isn't something new. I feel whatever money is coming through here in this next little bit is something that you already know about it. You already know about it, whether it's an investment or it's just something that is known to you. That's all I can tell you. There is some cards here, again, more along the lines of control and heartbreak and conflict, and we've got the Emperor, as well as the Hermit. So there's some kind of introspection or enlightenment, that's coming through here. And again, with the Three of Swords, there is some tension there. Sometimes the Three of Swords can relate to third party, but it's really the only card that I see there. So I wouldn't strongly go in that direction. But with the Fool, you're being asked to take a leap of faith and just try to move into a new perspective. There is, again, lots of cards that speak to end of an old cycle, and lots of twos, meaning you're moving on and departing. But there is, again, another five here as well with the Five of Swords. So there's definitely conflict. There's communication. There's conflict. There's emotional loss, or feeling of some sense of something on the emotional front to do with communication, and I feel some kind of partnership or relationship. Could be a soul friendship as well. Anybody, family member that is quite close to you, and it's a hard win. So, I mean, there is a win, but there may have been some kind of a sacrifice or something that had to be lost in the process, you know, as far as respect for one another, or maybe there's a new found respect. So again, that was just sort of the general gist of it. But again, there's lots of cards that speak to, you know, there being some kind of a love issue here that is at the forefront of this reading. But as far as career and finance goes, I feel that things are still moving in a really positive direction. You definitely have the Wheel of Fortune card, so there's some kind of a new, you're completing another cycle, but there's also movement toward happiness here with the Nine of Cups. So you're definitely feeling pretty good about your money. And as far as I said, the Chariot, I think for some of you, it's either you're winning out in terms of a position change. I don't feel it's anything about a new job or anything on that front, but it is more along the lines of advancement, hanging on to the money that you already have, knowing that it is going to be growing and moving ahead, but you're feeling some kind of sense of loss here. You've got a lot of decisions to make, and with the Three of Pentacles, there's maybe some anxiety emotionally about I mean, that could speak to third party because we've got 2 3s here, but generally this is taken as a very positive card, and it's a card of mastery, and certainly it's, you know, friends and things coming through that can aid you in advancing yourself and collaborating. So I feel it's more along that front. Okay, so I'll get right into the reading itself. That was just a general synopsis for, again, this is for Sagittarius for October 2020. So the first cards out are the fortune reading cards, and these ones are Sharina's Star, and the illustrations are by Richard Crooks. So with the Star card here, hard times are over. Look forward to an abundance of happiness, enthusiasm, and positivity. So as I mentioned, I mean, I did feel that there was a lot of, you know, things were coming to a head and resolutions, especially toward the end of October more so, but definitely some sense of trailing energy around a love situation or something that was incredibly emotional for you that you're very connected to. And again, it could be a partnership, love, passion project, something like that, something that you're just really bound to. But again, for a lot of you, it feels like it's a little more emotionally tied to a person. Okay, so anyway, so with the Star card, again, this is about, you know, hard times are over indicates you clearly have gone through some hardships here. So this is probably in the previous months, but, you know, you might not have been feeling very inspired and able to move forward here, but this is still a card of, despite those challenges, despite jealousy, despite, you know, any conflicts or obstacles that were in your way, or even just battling your own negativity, you know, or, you know, I don't want to say hatred, but, you know, anger over someone else, this is still a card of optimism and allowing you to change your perspective and see that there is some hope here at the end of that tunnel. So this is a healing card basically, and in terms of relationships, it is letting you know that you are moving past these negative feelings and you're starting to feel more energized, and you're able to attract the things that you want into your life more easily. So any kind of long-standing huge arguments or conflicts, all of those things are now regarded to be a part of the past, or if the energy is still trailing through for the month of October, know that it is going to be something that you are getting past here. So again, this could be a loyal friendship, this could be a partnership, lifelong partner, anything like that, very close relationship of some sort that you might have been dealing with that has that had gone through some kind of challenge anyway. In terms of career and finance, this is really about time for feeling proud about some of the things that you have been able to achieve. There again, it's a card of money gains that will be coming in, and certainly, I mean, you're moving up that career ladder. You're starting to advance. You're in demand, that kind of thing. As I mentioned, it did feel as though you were able to gain some kind of leverage anyway in a work situation. So with the key, new beginnings, directions, and adventures await for those that let go of the past. Okay, so this is something that's opening up to you. This is about promises of a fresh start. So definitely a card, that's letting you move ahead out of that dead-end negative circular kind of thinking that held you back, because this is really not only just a card in terms of personal relationships. If it is in regards to a relationship, it might have been a relationship that you were pining over, or that you had a lot of, you were putting a lot of stake into, or a lot of investment, or you felt that there was, you were just giving it a little bit too much more attention than it really needed for what the issues were. Because again, there's two parts to the equation here. So, you can only deal with your own healing first. You can't try to heal the whole of the relationship. So, in terms of career and money, this could be about feeling restless in a job, or feeling that a job has sort of a dead-end feel to it, and you want to move ahead, or you want to change up and move into a different career, which I also mentioned was a part, sorry, with the Chariot card coming through. That was also something that I felt for some of you was relevant. But this is a card, again, of letting you know that you know what you're doing here. If you're not happy and you're not comfortable with where you are, you take the time to plan to move ahead. Of course, you don't want to just make any sudden jumps. You want to make sure it's a calculated risk, especially in COVID times, being so prevalent for so many people. It just makes sense to be a little more, just a little slower in jumping. I know it's a lot of extra work to be able to kind of hang on to a couple of different zones here and transition, but sometimes it's better to move a little slower and methodical than to, make a hasty turn without knowing the next step. I think in this particular instance anyway, sometimes it's a good thing just to jump right in and take the adventure. But right now there is a lot of uncertainty for a lot of people. So, okay. But I feel you're a pretty methodical person anyway. I don't feel that you're making any sudden moves or jumps, just by nature. Virtue of who you are. Okay, so again, I also mentioned that there was some indication that there were difficulties around a partnership here. There is the Kindred Partnership card. Oh, and these cards I should mention. These are the Sandra Ann Taylor Quantum Oracle. So that's the cards there. And so Kindred Partnership is, again, it's about a coupling. It is definitely an issue where there is... Normally it speaks to romance and deeper commitment, and in some instances it could even bring about a brand new love of some sort. But it's also a feeling of getting moving into a work partnership as well. So for some of you, it could be a legal agreement of some sort, or you're just feeling more passionate about some kind of connection here to someone. But either way, it's a card of expansion. So again, it doesn't have to be a romantic love. It could be, business partnership of some sort, passion project. And also it is a card that somehow signifies some kind of legal representation there, which again made me feel that this was really more along the lines for a lot of you, to do with a married couple or deeper long-term committed couple. So there is definitely some conflict around that, with the conflict card here. So, it's just about the hostilities and agitation, maybe somebody just being a little thoughtless or a little more dismissive of you. It could reference a friend or family member as well, co-workers, anything, however that resonates for you. But it's just about you not sure how to resolve this here, just feeling a little bit powerless. So that is sort of the energies. Again, it's probably not all going to come and go in the month of October. Probably a residual of this will be trailing into November, or some of this is also from previous months. But either way, there is some kind of more significant energy around it. And as well, you've also got the back and forth energy with the intention card. So, clearly there's, some sense of, do I go, do I stay, some kind of vacillation about whether or not, you're making the right decision, because there is some kind of a decision that's coming through again toward the end of the month, more so. But I just feel that you're just not really certain what the direction should be, whether or not you need to commit. And I feel for a lot of you that there is going to be some kind of a deeper commitment. I didn't really see a lot of cards that suggested a walking away or a departure. There is an end to a cycle. There's an end to the way in which the situation was being dealt with. But I didn't really see any complete finish necessarily. Just a finish of the way that the two of you may have been handling a situation, or maybe there was something that ended, but you're still able to salvage something from the relationship. But anyway, either way, this is a card of that mental energy, and it's really hard to kind of get your focus here because you are vacillating back and forth here, and you're sort of stuck between those choices. Again, for others of you, this relates around a career-oriented partnership, and so, or maybe a decision to move on, from a dead-end job and to move into something that you have more interest in, a new career direction, or a creative project, or something that just seems to hold more of your attention. But there is some confusion with this card. There's some self-doubt. This is definitely about you considering your next direction here. And not only that, but you also have the card of fear, and of course that's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear. You're not sure, obviously, whether or not this is just unnecessary worry. Because the thing is anytime we make a decision over something, it's best just to try to, weigh out the pros and cons. But for the most part, when you're stuck in a place of worry, you're not really going to make a decision anyway, and you start to procrastinate. And there was also a card that indicated that you were procrastinating over some kind of a decision here. So this is about you just, not properly taking stock of the whole of the picture. You're still stuck in all of the emotionally bound heaviness of a decision and comfort, and the rest of the cards really speak to you expanding and growing and letting go of you don't have to let go of everything, but some aspects of this, so that you can make some of these changes and move in a way that allows you to feel a little more freedom. So you kind of harnessing your own power, being a little more optimistic and self-directed in your direction, so that you are able to actually gain something rather than remain paralyzed by fear. So trust in the energy, not the fear. So use the energy, that anxiety, for something that can benefit you over the long term. Okay, so there were cards here that speak to a creative endeavor. Again, this is going to resonate a little differently for some of you. It could be that some of you are deciding to take on a different job or move into a different career. And maybe this is a hobby that you're turning into a business of some sort. But this also speaks to, hobbies. So hobbies that you have interest in with, photography or painting or reading books, writing books, anything that is a creative time for you can also heal. So it's about you moving in that direction anyway. So whether you play an instrument, a flute or piano or whatever it might be, you could be going back to school here as well, but it's some sense of learning, and there is definitely some great potential that comes with this card. So if it is in writing or publishing or something along that line, or theater, putting together those projects, this is definitely about you being able to express yourself in a way that could bring some definite abundance here. Some potential is involved around these activities. So there is definitely some money that can be made from these activities. And also with the card of transformation, I mean, clearly you are stepping into a new you. Again, this is going to be more of a fluid energy, so it's not all happening in the month of October. It is likely to trail on beyond that. But it is definitely speaking to some kind of significant transition here. So, you're getting rid of unhealthy patterns, unhealthy thoughts, and you're really trying to, be more optimistic, reinvent yourself, and you're trying to manifest. And that could be manifesting in terms of a relationship, in terms of a partnership, in terms of a work situation as well. But once you're able to visualize and get clear on what it is that you want, then you're able to move into that and expand and really make some differences in your life. But again, you have to get clear on what it is that you want. And I say that as well because there was also another card here about, I felt that gave me that same sense here as well with the Queen of Swords. But just getting clear, there was another card as well that related around getting focused. So there might have been at some point here, you're going to be struggling with that. And again, I mean, it doesn't seem unreasonable given that there are cards here that also speak to you going through a lot of fearful worry and anxiety and vacillation back and forth. So, okay, so the next cards out will be the Psychic Tarot, and that is by John Holland. So these cards, we've got the Universe card. So again, that would be the equivalent of the Wheel of Fortune, really. This card, the black in itself here, is also speaking to protection, and that's not the only card that came through with that. So you do have suffering and silence, you do have emotional loss, but you also have light. And these are all cards of protection and with the blue border here with suffering and silence, this is about issues with communication. So there's definitely some kind of emotional, family-oriented, with the green, issues that you need to consider here. So I do feel, like I said, it's a long-term commitment or very close connection that you're having some issues with, and there's communication issues. So with the Universe card here, and again, black border on this symbolizes there's, protection, and there's some kind of mysterious energy that comes through with the Universe. So it is the equivalent of as I said, the Wheel of Fortune. So really it's about you being protected by the Universe. You definitely have some completions, some endings with this. It is a cycle. It's the beginning and the end of a cycle. So again, you've come to some kind of a resolve. There's some kind of a healing that's taking place here. There's some kind of sense of, I don't want to say necessarily peace and fulfillment right off the bat here, because I feel that, again, I still feel like you're pushing, for a lot of you, it feels like you're just still pushing past this. It doesn't feel like you're feeling at one with the whole decision. I feel like in the month of October, you're just coming to the conclusion that you can't go any further with something, and so you're then just making the decision to move in a particular direction. May not fully be resolved here, but you've gained some wisdom about the limitations or the boundaries that you're operating within, and so you're just choosing to move in a particular direction now, because that's all you can do. With the card of emotional loss, again, this is not necessarily like a really, I want to say a very heavy card necessarily, but I do feel that you have some, because of this pain, you know, you're stronger for it. You've got deeper wisdom because of this experience, but I don't want to say it's all positive energy just yet. I still feel you're in that place of healing. So, you know, with the emotional loss card, I feel that there's a loss of the old way in which you were dealing with something or someone. But you definitely have moved into a place now where you're having to, I don't want to say self-preserve, but I do want to say, you know, you're just feeling that you reached a point where you can't go any further with a particular mindset. So something that you were emotionally attached to with that card has suffered some kind of a change, and now you're having to take that pain and transform it into something that is going to allow you to move forward. So that means accepting that you may not be able to get your way. The other person can't necessarily get their way. So the only way to negotiate it is maybe just to give each other some space for a period of time. Maybe there is some kind of a temporary setback or separation. But either way, there is some kind of a light that's coming through that's reassuring here. So this is a card of prosperity. It's also a card of you know, happiness and contentment and growth and success, some kind of illumination. There's some kind of aha moment here that comes through. So, I mean, clearly there is, you know, because it's partnered between the emotional loss card and the suffering in silence, I feel that you've lost that old feeling or that old way in which you were dealing with the issue, and you have now, you know, been able to be more compassionate. And sorry, I have a cat that's getting close to the room here, which could cause an issue on the cards. Okay, so again, this is still a really good card about you know, you understanding more clearly what it is that you hold with this other person. You now understand the value of it, and it's not so much about conceding, it's just about accepting that there is going to be some loss to be able to go forward. And again, with the card of suffering and silence, I mean, I don't know that I see you in heavy depression or anything like that, but it is about you letting go of something here. So again, it could be worry, the negative beliefs, all of those things, you know, where you just felt like you were alone in the picture here, but you actually had a lot of friends and a lot of support is what was coming through with this whole reading here. So it's about you seeing the way clear here, and you can see that she's looking out into the sunshine there. So definitely seeing the light, you know where you're headed now, and you just have to accept some of the parameters that are around this relationship. Maybe there is some issue about somebody lives at a distance, and you're not able to make something happen in the way that you had hoped. I don't know. I'm just kind of giving an idea of what could potentially be some of the issues around that. Okay, so either way, moving on to the next cards here will be, I think what I'll do is I will put some of these off of the main reading so it doesn't confuse. Okay, so the next one's here. I'm just going to read the spell casting cards, and this is Oracle cards by Flavia Kate Peters, Barbara Meikle, John Free. So again, you know, you needed to get clear on where it is that you were headed. You definitely have some new inspiration, aha moments, things to move forward on, and things to empower you. But I do feel that you weren't speaking up for yourself here with some of these cards. So I think that that's where the communication was likely suffering here, because somebody wasn't being open about what it is that they wanted or that they needed from the other person. But also this is, I mean, for others of you, this is a card of just decluttering and trying to get some order back in your life. And so you just want to be able to clear your head of those negative mindsets or any heavy thoughts or, you know, anything that was causing you to not be clear in your direction. So again, for a lot of you, I feel this is more along the lines of communication issues. But this is going to help you to expand once you're able to organize your life and again get rid of some of the things that are no longer useful for you to that are blocking you. So anyway, in this card here with the inspiration, again speaks to, just feeling like you've got, you're relying on your imagination here to come up with creative solutions, creative ideas. You're getting flashes of inspiration. You've got just things that are helping you to clear your head. And again, if that means going into nature, that's where you're getting some of those moments of clarity so that you can come to understand how to empower yourself here. So again, with the card of empowerment, this is about you having a lot of strengths, you having a lot of talents, you have a lot of power here. And again, I feel that some of you were dismissed, some of you weren't able to stand up for yourself, or you didn't feel that you could. You just felt like you were not in control of the situation, but you actually are now. In the month of October, you're starting to speak your truth. You're starting to get clear on what it is that you want. You're definitely in a place where you feel your opinion matters, and so you're speaking authentically. You're speaking your truth. You're speaking what matters to you so that you can actually get out of this limited mindset. Okay, so the next ones out will be the energy card. So again, we had the Angel of Love, we've got Woman Holding a Heart, we've got Blossoming Abundance, and we also have second chakra Archangel Ariel. So I'll start with that one. So that one, sorry, just going to shift myself here. Okay, so with the second chakra Archangel Ariel, that's about intimacy and creativity. And again, I feel there was a lot of solutions that are coming through for you now. I feel a lot of you just didn't feel like you had a lot of answers about how to resolve a particular area of your life. But again, I feel like you're more inspired to move forward again on an emotional level. For others of you, it may be along the lines of, your business and moving forward with your creative projects. But I feel for the most part, this is really about self-expression. So even in a job situation, if you felt stifled and bored, maybe you're now starting to see that there's some kind of new projects, new things that you can work on that will help to expand you and stimulate your energy so that you actually feel like you're moving ahead and you're making some headway somewhere. It's just something that kind of brings you to life here with that card. And again, it also speaks to a deeper sense of intimacy. So we also have the Blossoming Abundance card, and of course that's also about increasing your wealth right there, and that's very significant, like I said, but I don't feel it's happening in the month of October. It feels like there's a period of waiting because you had the Knight of Pentacles, which is a really slow-moving energy. Knights are always about action, but again, that's the slowest knight. So there is prosperity of some sort. This one also speaks to a period of spring. So whether it's spring that this money is coming, or something around spring, or something that you knew about that you did in this past spring that has started to build. Either way, it is a card of increased wealth. So some kind of a blessing is coming through here. So the other card, okay, so we have, this was Woman Holding a Heart. So again, this still deals with family, love, and emotions. As I mentioned earlier, I feel this was more of a married or long-term committed situation, but that's going to resolve with this card. That's what this one's letting you know. I mean, it can also speak to new love that's coming through for those of you that are single, but it can also be just having a confidant or somebody who's there to help you through whatever it is that you're dealing with. We also have the Angel of Love. And this is about those connections that you can rely on, friends and family or people that just are very compassionate when you're going through difficult times. So this is about, again, you've got the Three of Pentacles that came through, and I feel that you have a lot of support. So this is, again, Sometimes it can speak to, longing for deeper intimate connection with somebody, but I don't feel for the majority of you that's really where that card is headed. I feel that this is really about you able to forge that connection with that person, and that you are able to get that deeper connection. It doesn't, all the other cards don't speak to any kind of tremendous end. It speaks to a shift in perspective and some kind of beginning, new beginning. So there's some kind of resolve. The other cards, again, lots of relationship issues here that were coming through, but these ones were, you've got domestic harmony, you've got change, and you've also got pride. So, I mean, these cards here are the Karmic Numerology Guidance cards, by Michelle Buchanan. But I mean, again, it's all really revolving around a lot of romantic energy for me is what I'm getting. But again, this is still about family. This is still about that troubled relationship with a current partner. Again, I feel like it's a long-term committed situation here. But it also speaks to, somebody moving it to the next level and finally getting out that communication, the things that were stuck in their head that they weren't able to discuss before. If it is speaking to, it doesn't say that it's not really a card that's speaking to a change in residence, but it does speak to a residence. So if some of you are needing to change things around the house to accommodate for whatever this new situation is, or if there's something around a house, this card would speak to that. It does speak to improving that situation anyway around the house. So whether it's the actual house or just those that are within the house. Okay, so, and again, with the change card, pretty straightforward on that one as well. Clearly somebody is making some changes here to be able to adapt to the situation, whether it's you or your other person, partnership, friendship, familial friendship, or, with a close family member, somebody that is very important to you either way. But the card does speak to expanding and that change and adaptation, and in some instances it can also speak to an unexpected change, but I don't feel that is really where we're headed with this particular reading, just because it is closely followed by the card of pride. But it is about, starting to go in flow with some of the situation, part of the situation anyway. You're starting to make some kind of re-spark. There's a new spark, a new sense of renewal for this relationship. So no more procrastination there. This is about you taking charge of the situation here to be able to move forward. So again, with the card of pride, whether it's your pride or somebody else's, somebody's swallowing their pride here to be able to accept the situation. It's not about whether or not somebody was right or wrong. It's about trying to create something that's happy and harmonious. And sometimes, when you lose, you win you win the battle, but lose the war. It's sometimes better to take a 70% loss to have the 30% gain. And again, when you lose a battle in one instance, you might gain more leverage down the road for a bigger battle. So when you show some sense of, I don't know if that came through well enough, but when you show some sense of understanding to someone else, they may be more willing to concede in future arguments or future discussions or conflicts or other as they arise. So just to be aware that it still can be very monumental to keep the peace, because in the long run it may actually benefit you, in future situations, future arguments or conflicts or things that you need to resolve with somebody else. And again, that goes for partnerships too, not just romantic situations. So, I might have lost some cards here. Sorry, one sec. All right, so the next ones out are actually the Babylonian Tarot, and that's Sandra Tabitha Cicero. So we've got the Queen of Wands, and so there's a lot of wand energy here. So there's a lot of, there is a lot of energy, a lot of passion that's coming through here. So this is a card of, being a steady, this I feel is more of a person in this particular reading, but it is a steady, energy. It's somebody who could be really self-confident, assertive kind of a person that's around you here. Very talented, sincere, really magnetic kind of a person here, but they usually have the ability to attract attention to themselves. And I'm not saying that they're extremely theatrical and outgoing. I feel that this person is really more of a quiet presence, but when they walk into a room, there is a definite all eyes on them type of feel. So that, again, I feel is more of a person around you. With the Six of Wands, it's a card of victory, and for sure it's one of balance, but I feel in this particular instance, this is really, coming to terms with some kind of agreeance between the two of you here. So, after all of this difficulty, there is some kind of a success that is that's gained in terms of a relationship. For others of you, this is related more along the lines of public recognition. And again, with the Star card, that would also speak to the same. And the Key card could also be related around that as well. But again, this is more of a card of arrival of good news, and definitely, in your favor, this victory. So again, it's a public recognition card with the Six of Wands. So again, for some of you, you're getting some kind of accolades or some kind of gain in your current position at work, and may even be getting some kind of a promotion. With the Cherub of Discs, this is, of course, about money. So this is about being able to manifest. This is somebody who actually is really a guardian. This is, spirit coming through to, again, protect you, but it is also a card of being able to manifest. And there's a few cards that you have here that speak to that. So you also have the Magician, which is a card of manifestation as well. So this is about somebody who's got a lot of talent, which I suspect is you in this. Somebody who's got a lot of talent, who's got a lot of tools. They know, how to use these things. They just need to actually apply that energy. So if you were caught up with a lot of emotional difficulties, you probably didn't move forward in the same force, with the same force or the same energy that you might otherwise have been, able to plod along and make things happen. But the Magician is somebody who has that organized thought and that strength of will to be able to bring about things. And this is about skill and wisdom, and it is about self-determination and that ability to be diplomatic and control their environment to make things happen in the physical world. So it's about taking, energy from spirit and insight and putting it into the practical 3D world. So again, as I mentioned before, you have the Five of Wands. So for sure, we already know there was conflict here. There was some kind of relationship issue that was, or a partnership issue where there was some difficulty, but, it's quarreling, it's fighting, it's struggle. So there's some kind of confrontation that went on, and it could very well have been with the Queen of Wands as well. So that's just as a side note. But again, I didn't feel it was an ending. I feel like there's some kind of resolve there. We also have, this is a newer deck for me, but I really like these cards. These are really great card stock as well. So this is Adsum and the Muse. So this is actually the Akashic Tarot by Sharon Ann Klinger and Sandra Ann Taylor. Really nice cards, but I will say for the most part, the deck itself and the phrasing is, I find, really interesting. But this card in particular is about I'm here. So this is really about, you've arrived. There's something here in the way of goals you've been able to achieve or reach some, some of you, I feel like, as I mentioned, that there was some kind of promotion of some sort that was coming through. I didn't feel it was new jobs for the most part, although at the end of the month there may be a consideration to that, or some kind of career change, or again maybe it's just a shift into a new position. But this card is about you have arrived. This is about, and again, if it's related to a partnership, relationship, romantic, along that line, it does also speak to, that you're there for each other, and that you're kind of taking on your dreams together. So again, the card is about, in terms of goals, you've arrived, you're here, this is where you're moving now. With the Muse, I mean, it's just simply that, you've got a lot of inspiration here. This is about giving birth to new projects or new ideas, having creative solutions. You don't want to resist things. You're handling things really well here. And it's just a matter of time before it all starts to pull together. But this is about lifting, your projects up. This is about bringing things to the forefront. And you've got a lot of energy here with the wands on multiple fronts here. So for the month of October, I feel you're actually getting a lot done. Especially for somebody who's in a period of healing, you're quite active in making things happen. You really are able to compartmentalize and put your emotions to the side to be able to move forward. So the Illuminati Tarot is the Keys of Secret Societies, and this is by Casey Duhamel and illustrated by Bob Graverstein. So with the Emperor here, I mean, normally this is, and this could represent you or a boss or somebody in your, sphere, but the Emperor is really somebody who's of control. This is somebody who generally tends to be, I mean, it could also speak, there's Leo energy that was coming through here too. There was also another card that came through that spoke to a Libra energy. So I don't know if that fits for some of you, but definitely with the Emperor, this is a card that, I feel that if this is related to a legal issue, and even there was just a really mild energy of that for some of you, for sure it would be moving in your favor, because there's a lot of cards of happiness in the wheel turning in your favor. But the Emperor could also just represent somebody who's quite stable, and I feel this could be your energy. Somebody who's quite reasonable and logical and practical, and just somebody who has a good sense of their own world and has a pretty good idea of, what the direction that they're headed. They're not really feeling lost. I mean, there can be some, like I said, some period of indecision about what way to go, but for the most part, always in control of their world with the Emperor. Okay, so the next card out was the Hermit. So the Hermit energy is, for sure introspective. I felt that you did have to pull back a little bit to do some healing so that you could make a decision. And, I don't know what the final outcome, of course, will be on that. I mean, it just indicates that there's some kind of a decision that needs to be made on lots of cards toward the end here. But it does feel as though you have a lot of options, though. So whatever decision that you're making, as far as in terms of a career, I feel that you actually have more opportunities available to you than just two decisions. But either way, it's about making some kind of a decision. So with the Hermit, again, that's an energy of just pulling back, trying to figure out what your next move is. Just overall trying to heal from that Three of Swords energy, because it's a real place of, it's a painful place. This is the place of restraint. When it's next to the Hermit, there's a real feeling of restraint and control, and maybe there is some kind of suspicion that's still remaining there, but there is, again, it's a spiritual reflection of some sort. You're just going inwards. There's a caution that's around that Three of Swords energy. So again, Three of Swords can represent a divorce or some kind of a separation, or incompatibility or arguments, disagreements, anything of that nature. But I feel for a lot of you, it's just a change in the way that you're dealing with your issues with this person. But for others, as I say, and I feel it's to a smaller degree, there is some kind of a division here in terms of a relationship. I mean, and again, there is a chance, because there is a hard win with the Five of Swords and the partnership here with the Lovers. So there is a chance that there is some end of that relationship. But again, it could be just an end in the way that you know it currently to be. With the Fool, you're starting back on the path here. This is just a really, for some of you, again, it's, jumping into a new direction or a new position in the company. But there's a lot more spontaneity and freedom and adventure that goes with this card. So this is, just you getting rid of some of that restlessness that you may have been feeling if you were stuck in a position that you were that was a little too long term. But this is an optimistic card regardless. Okay, so next cards out would be the okay, and again, I don't do a lot of the love reading stuff, so I will touch on it, but I know that a lot of this reading was related around that, so I feel compelled to do that right now. Okay, so we've got the wedding card, and we've also got let your friends help you. So I feel that there was some kind of a marriage situation here. I do feel, that this was, or for others of you, as I said, it's a long-term commitment of some sort. For some of you, it might be an upcoming wedding, but again, because it's coupled with the let your friends help you card, I just feel that it was more about some kind of difficulty that was revolving around this long-term commitment. Again, I mean, there's a chance that you could be attending a wedding, and some of you, it might be some kind of, could be some kind of introduction from friends, some kind of a hookup with a new person for some of you, if you're single. But it's, again, to me, for the most part, I feel that there was just, you had some kind of confidants trying to assist you through a difficult time there. Okay, next cards out. These are the Rider-Waite deck. And I'm sorry, I don't know who created these ones. I have long since gotten rid of the box, unfortunately. So, but either way, we've got the Wheel of Fortune out. So again, that's a card that speaks to end of a cycle here. It's not the World card, but you do have the World card as an end of cycle. And this is moving in your favor here, because you definitely you've got the Nine of Cups. It's clarifying. So the Wheel card definitely is good luck, moving in your favor. Definitely, wish fulfill card with the Nine of Cups. So you have something to look forward to in the beginning of October that's making you considerably happy. So this could be in the way of a goal or a dream or something that you wanted to attain, or some kind of status in a company that's making you feel, you're more popular, you're more successful now. It's just about luck and timing and destiny with this combination. So it is about good luck, as I mentioned here, and opportunity that has opened up for you. So if it is in relation to a relationship for others of you, it can speak to, it's kind of a destined relationship. So take that as it resonates. So, it's a relationship that does bring you a lot of happiness, but again, every relationship comes with challenges, because that's how you grow, and that's what gives it depth and meaning. And because we constantly grow, you don't want a stagnant relationship. You want something to be constantly evolving and helping to embed and tie the relationship, make it stronger, create a better foundation. So again, this could speak to a person in your life. And again, this is a Libra Virgo energy. But this is somebody who could represent Queens are usually about a stronger internal energy. So they're not necessarily overt in the way that they present. although they do have a very strong sense of who they are. You know, there's a lot of knowledge that they've attained because of past hurts and that kind of thing. They're certainly an intuitive kind of person. If we're again, this is not situational. If we are relating this to a person, if it is. If it is somebody that is in a position of power, it would be one of, a profession that where the individual is a lawyer or some kind of a businesswoman, but somebody who's pretty straightforward and upfront. This is somebody that has, in a really objective, fair mindset. And again, they're quite intellectual. But it's somebody who can be a really strong negotiator, somebody who might not, to the far extreme, might not mince their words and might be a little bitchy or might be a little bit tell it like it is, and might even be a little extreme in judgments. But, to the other side, it would be somebody who's encouraging and protective. So again, I mean, as with all people, I mean, we have these extremes in our own personality. So if it is relating to more of a situational or advice card, it would be telling you to be calm and do what is logical and what is emotionally mature, and make decisions that are based from an intellectual standpoint. So this can indicate that you are going through a difficult situation here as well with this queen. But it is really somebody who is a fast thinker and tends to want to resolve problems. So if you are being asked to take on this energy, this is about you coming out on top and being a motivator and being able to look ahead with clarity. But it's also somebody who doesn't really like to be controlled. So again, I felt with the Chariot energy that there was a lot of competition with the Five of Wands. The Chariot gave me the feeling that you were actually moving in the direction of potentially moving out of, some of you, moving into the energy of wanting to change your career because you are feeling a little bit bored. But for others of you, this is a victory in overcoming difficulty with co-workers that were vying for the same position. So again, it can be a bit of a hard-won victory with this combination, but you're overcoming challenges with the Chariot. You are a victor, so you're getting what you want here with the Chariot, and you're successful. You've got control over your feelings here, and you're sticking to the right path. So it's successful, it's determined, it's a really strong card of assertive victory. But again, in terms of the money, I just feel that there's a weight, and you're hanging on to the money. There's not a lot that you can do right at this point. It's just a matter of a waiting game. With the Ace of Wands, I mean, for sure you've got a lot of wands, so there's a lot of energy coming through, a lot of new energy coming through. So there is something new that's coming through for the month of October. In terms of your money, again, it could be lots of ideas, something that's really original or some kind of new beginnings. But again, I don't feel it's like big job opportunities necessarily coming out. I feel it's an opportunity to raise in position, something that's already pre-existing. But for others of you, it's about finding new growth and potential in another front. And again, maybe it's turning a hobby into a new adventure, something along that line. But it's having belief in your abilities here with this card, with it's a card of passion. So again, it is still good news that's coming through here with this combination. And I feel even on a spiritual front, this could be even spirituality that's coming through, that's inspiring you to take initiative and to expand on an idea, or, just giving you the drive or the energy to come up with a solution in relation to your money. So again, money I feel is coming through. It's slow moving. You're still hanging on to it with the Four of Pentacles. I don't feel like you have a lot of worries here in October as far as money, but I do feel that you're just being extra cautious here. So again, with that Four of Pentacles, I don't feel that you're you're seeing lack because it's also followed by the 7 and the 9 of Pentacles. But I mean, the 4 of Cups to me speaks to you feeling like there's some sense of lack, or that you're not getting something in quite the way you want it. But, and especially with the devil energy, I mean, that could relate to, you know, a Cancer or Sagittarius or Capricorn, something as well coming through on all of those. Because I thought we had, yeah, the King of Cups is down there. So those were some of the energies that were coming through. As I said, Leo and Libra. Doesn't have to be those astrological signs, but certainly the energy or characteristics of those signs. But again, with the 7 of Pentacles, I just feel like there is still there's still something that you're waiting on, is my feeling, is what I'm getting there. And again, this could be something that's going to give you some level of independence, but you're waiting on it. And you feel like things are maybe moving too slow. And with the devil energy, you know, I feel that that is you. Either you could be overindulging in drinking or something along that line, or in some other, indulging in some other way as far as mentally torturing yourself, you know, with a lot of frustration. Because the devil energy does speak to all of that. It speaks to a lot of negativity or a lot of extremes of any sort. So, again, you've got the King of Pentacles, or sorry, the King of Cups with the Death card. I still, again, like it's a Cancer energy or Pisces energy that's coming through with this one as well. But it just feels to me that there's still some sense of, you having to be calm, perhaps, you know, in moving into this energy of completing this cycle. Just, you know, while you go through this transition, you just want to be wise and balanced emotionally. If we are speaking to this King of Cups as a person, it would be somebody who is quite diplomatic and a father figure. Again, this could be you or someone around you, but it's somebody who is quite masterful over their emotions. So they've already got a sense of mature qualities. They've got some mature qualities here. It is somebody, I feel that it could be somebody who's a wise person that you are going to, that's supporting you. But I mean, on the far extreme of this card would be somebody who's out of control and quite, you know, has these emotional outbursts. But for the most part, it can also speak on a situational level to working on yourself. So this part is really more so related to the money aspect. So I feel like, you know, you are waiting on something that is related to your money, but I feel that you're still dealing with some kind of emotional, I don't want to say distress, but some kind of emotional issue that you're not quite sure. Toward the end of October, you're not quite sure how to deal with it just yet, but you are being asked to remain calm and in control of your emotions, and just to let the cycle, you know, end, so that you can have this parting of ways, or this rebirth, whatever it is here, that you're letting go of this with that death card here. You're letting go of things that aren't necessary in your life anymore. So again, that can speak to the love energy, you know, or that toxic partnership or, you know, relationship that maybe was holding you back in some way. But again, you're letting go of the way in which it was dealt with. So I just trying to get a sense of whether or not this is because the reason why I'm hesitating is because it's like you're getting the Six of Wands repeatedly here. Like you've had this a couple of times, so you're finding some kind of a balance. So to me, it feels like whatever it is, it's not a full ending of some sort for a lot of you. With this victory card, to me, it still feels like, you feel like you have come out on top in some way here. I mean, even though with the relationship aspect, there is the Five of Swords here with this partnership, there was some kind of a hard win, but maybe it's your viewpoint is being heard here. Maybe this is, them understanding you more so. You finally have come forward with your emotional, with something that you were holding back. And again, that could have been the card here too with, holding back with the Four of Pentacles. That could also speak to emotionally holding back as well. But once you are able to be calm and speak freely, because communication was a big part of the issue here, you're able to, and I feel with this Three of Pentacles, you're getting some collaborative help here. And maybe this is somebody who is a partner in a business with you or somehow relates to your money. Because the Three of Pentacles does speak to a sense of mastery, and it definitely speaks to collaboration, and it is doing something that you feel passionate about here. It is about being aware of your potential, but you have a lot of choices, a lot of options, a lot of directions you can go with this. So it is, to me, like I said, they're very closely connected here, the rewards and the victories. So I feel like you have been able to manifest something. I feel that you have been able to create your own options here. And I feel that this is a growing phase for you, and that's why there's the rebirth. There is some kind of personal growth for you. But there's also something materializing, and as much as this is on the career front a card of mastery and collaboration, it is also in terms of relationships more of a reconciliation. So maybe it's a reconciliation of a work situation as well, that started to kind of move in a more productive way. But either way, they're all positive cards here. So it's also about material gain and not to give up here, because you do, even though you've got some anxiety with all those options, those choices, there is, you still have to make some kind of a decision here, because you've at the very end of the month, you've got a lot of cards that are giving you anxiety. So maybe you're not sure about whether or not to move into this new position. You're not sure about whether or not you want to move into a new job, or change your career. Maybe the money is still pretty good, or maybe you have decided to leave, and that's why you're waiting on this money coming through, because you need that for the security here. But either way, with the World card, it's a sense of accomplishment. It's a completion of a cycle, and again, you've got lots of cards that speak to a lot of anxiety here with the Nine of Swords. But again, you've got a 10 that is completing of a cycle here also. You've got the Two of Swords for speaking to some kind of a decision that needs to be made. You've got the Two of Wands, again, about finding balance, making decisions, and the Two with the Lovers. So again, there is something that's coming through about a decision at the end of the month. And with the World card, to me, this is some kind of, could even be a karmic relationship of some sort with that coming through, but there is some kind of possibilities or some kind of achievement, like I said, that's coming through there. Could even speak to travel, although it might not be travel in the sense that we know it, getting on a plane and going off somewhere fantastic and warm, but I mean, it might be travel in the sense of, having to travel into the next town, or the next city, or shorter travels to be able to, and maybe that's related to the work front. Maybe this new position does hold a position that requires you to do more traveling. But either way, it is some sense of traveling. If we are talking about things on a more personal front, about growth and development, I mean, this card also does speak to things along that line about, going through a life review and trying to make a decision about, where you're going to be going next in your career. But overall, again, it's still a card of getting divine universal help here with the World, and certainly it is a card of balance. So some kind of event or travel or new beginning or reward or celebration is coming through once you make some kind of a decision here. So again, we've got last of the cards out here. With the two of Wands, I mean, this is definitely a new. It's definitely moving into a new. You're not at a place where it's not an ace where you're still. It's still a new area. It's still a new territory for you to be in, but there is some sense of achievement with the Two of Wands. So you have a sense of where you're headed now, and this is about you starting to either plan for a trip, which again, it was very closely in combination with that World card, but it's also about feeling good and balanced. So the card in terms of a time frame could be something that relates to 3 days or, something within a 3, so maybe 3 days, 3 months. But it's about having patience as well. I'm feeling as well that it could be having patience with this coupleship or with this partnership. It could be, again, business partnership. There might be some kind of a sacrifice that's needing to be made here, but it is about holding back, just having patience. There is going to be success, there is going to be achievement in whatever this decision is at the end of the month here, but you've got to make the decision. But somehow it is about being in control, and it does feel like it is a success that is coming through in a joint venture. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of help here in making that decision in terms of, the options that are available to you as well. Like I said, you seem to have a lot of them here with this combination. So overall, Sagittarius, I feel like your reading is pretty amazing outside of, some difficulty with your relationship front there. But I will just read the last cards. The last 4 cards are just the Archangel Power Tarot cards, Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. These are actually, these are the advice cards here. So we've got the 3 of Raphael, and there's reasons to celebrate, a community of friends, happy announcements regarding relationships or children. So again, 3s are all about artistic and creativity and all of that as well. So definitely, again, you've got people around you that are supporting you. And so if you do need to reach out and speak to somebody, this might be where some of these people are coming through in the reading that you find are helping you to empower yourself again. But again, this card also speaks to prosperity as well and weddings. So again, for a small number of you, there might be a wedding in the picture here, but for others of you, I feel it's just, trying to come out of a difficult time. More so on that front. Divine guidance, the search for a meaning in life. Consider the alternative approach. Surround yourself with wise teachers or friends. So this card's pretty much letting you know that you've got protection. Sorry, and there was a lot of cards with the 2 black bases on the other, with the universe, and the other card, which was light, which are also protection cards. So you're getting the same here with divine guidance. You've got a lot of angelic protection that's around you. You don't have to be alone. You've got a really strong support system here on many fronts, not just in the spirit realm, but also within your organization or within your friendship base, but you've also got, the Archangel Sandalphon's support here. But it is also a card to let you know you need to change your perspective or think outside of the box. So if you're taking a traditional approach to your challenges and things aren't moving forward, shift your perspective so that you can find a better option, which again, especially needed at the very end of the month. 7 of Raphael is time to make a decision, be clear on what you want and take action. It's a need for detoxification. So with this one here, it's pretty straightforward here. You need to get rid of things that aren't healthy for you. You need to be able to, think with some clarity. You need to be able to get rid of things in your environment that aren't useful to you. You want to be able to find some level of compromise as well, but because, as I said, there was a few cards that indicated there was, a stepping back, but also making sure that you're heard. Making sure that you do come forward with what it is that you need to say, because that's going to be the turning point. So it's about making a decision here with the Seven of Raphael, which again at the end of the month here is where it's all seems to be most relevant anyway. Just getting clear on what you want, stop procrastinating, don't indulge in excesses. That's why the detoxification. And again, by the end of the month, I see a lot of could be the devil energy with heavy drinking or something along that line. But again, you've got a lot of tens here too, with the 10 of Gabriel. And again, you had the 10 of Swords. For sure, speaking to, end of a cycle. Nines are still taking action, but the tens, you're moving into that new energy already. So ask your angels for helpful people to lighten your load, working too many hours or trying too hard to please others. So I feel for a lot of you, it may not be so much that you are, I do feel that you're a really hard worker. So, I guess on the career front, in that respect, yes, I feel this is quite relevant. For others of you, I feel that you haven't really been speaking up for yourself, and maybe that's why you lost some credibility with your position, because you weren't being straightforward, and so it was causing more of a rift to say less with this card. But this is a card of overwhelm to a degree as well, right? This is a time of growth. This is a card where you've taken on a lot of challenges and you're feeling a lot of burdens, like a 10 of Wands card, basically. So you want to try to find a balanced life here, and you want to keep your determination, moving in a healthy direction. So knowing when to pull back and reduce that stress. So those are the advice cards, and again, I hope that gave you some clarity as to what's happening for the month of October, Sagittarius, and look forward to your next reading in November. Meantime, stay safe, and again, thank you to all of those that like and subscribe. And certainly if you did feel like it resonated with you in this reading, please leave a comment. Really interested just to get an idea of where things are at for you. So again, till November, take care, Sagittarius.